So it's all for play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hi, villains, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. As I come to you right now with about 40 different noises in my ear that I have no idea where they're coming from. So, let me try. There we go. Let's try and get that. Yeah, no, we're sorted. I commentary from the match somehow coming through my headset, and I have no idea how. Aston Villa 3, HIBS nil. Aston Villa 8, HIBS nil, I suppose, really on aggregate, and a workmanlike performance. Actually, sorry, not a workmanlike performance, because that means that they were laboured when they were out there today. But I think a professional performance from Aston Villa tonight. Hibs came all guns blazing at the very, very start. There was one or two hairy moments. I think probably the most animated I've seen everybody on Twitter during the whole lot of that game was when Robin Olsen did some sort of a disco shuffle with the ball at his feet, right in his goal line. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but that was the most animated I think I saw Villa fans over the course of the game. But pretty routine for Aston Villa today in Villa Park. We mentioned about the. We mentioned about the lineup, and I think the lineup is probably still the talking point of the game. Some really good performances out there. Seb Revan, I'm going to talk us. Everybody's going to be talking about Kellyman after this, because Kellyman was good in parts and absolutely, look, that guy is some serious talent, absolute serious talent. That reverse ball he played to Leon Bailey, for when Leon Bailey cut it back to John McGinn. Bailey should have just had a shot there. The pass he played to Bailey for his goal, he got an assist there. It was a pretty routine pass, but sometimes just making the simple decision is the making of a good footballer. Like, how many times does a ball go into a striker or a forward player there, and he swings a foot at it and it gets blocked, and then little things like that happen. Or so he shifted the ball out to his right and Bailey scored. So Kellyman did really well, and we will talk about him again in a moment. But Seb Revan, guys, Seb Revan is going to have a say in this this squad. I'm going to say it. I know we've got Moreno. I know we've got Dina, and I'm not saying that he replaces either of the two of those. But Seb Revan just looks like a professional footballer. He just does to me. He's assured. He's confident. He does. Another thing is, look, some people would have. Okay, going to go a bit tangential here now again. So strap in. People who follow me on Twitter for a while will know that there's a couple of players that I'm pretty critical of. Not in the Villa team, but in the English Premier League in general. And Mark Cucurella is one of them. I'm pretty critical of him because I think he's got zero positional discipline. I think he's just. I genuinely don't think. Like, I think it's a lack of professionalism from him sometimes, the way he goes out playing left back. When you see a young kid like Seb Revan come in today and do everything right, I think that's fantastic to see. Will he be an England international? No, he won't. Will he have but what he did tonight was really good, and I would have no problem throwing him in conference games. I have no problem if there was an injury. God forbid there is, and touch wood, that if there was an injury to either of our left backs, to bring Seb Revan in for a 2 or 3 week stint in the Premier League. I just like him. I just do, and you guys might disagree, but there is something in there. And the third little point I want to say is, are we getting to the stage when it's comfortable to say that the most fearsome sight in all of world football is Matty Cash with space in the box, in the opponent's box? Because he can't stop scoring at the moment. I don't expect you to answer those questions at the moment, but surprisingly, and I didn't expect him to come on, we have Paddy here to answer those questions. Paddy, I'm glad you came on, because just before I started this, I got out the Guinness Nitro and I poured myself a pint. So I'm delighted you're here.
Well, you enjoy that point as we celebrate the fact that we are 100% going on the European tour. And we've got a lovely day tomorrow to look forward to, and all the bells and whistles that will go with a fella in a suit for a half an hour telling us how the draw is going to work and seeing where we're going in far-flung parts of Europe, and it's exciting times. I know it wasn't that exciting tonight. It was almost like watching John McGinn's testimonial, we'll call it tonight, I'd say. Nearly got on the goal sheet, got on the score sheet and all as well. Yeah, look, it was we had our own little group chat going on there talking about sunshine on Leith. I think that was one of the highlights of the night, and fair play to them for getting really stuck into that. Apologies to those in the in the comments. I did miss the first 20 minutes of the match, so I did see the goal that I missed, and what a joy it was at halftime to watch it back. And I'm not ruling out this fella being one hell of a footballer. He just needs to be tamed a little bit. But I think John Duran has the potential to be nurtured into a decent footballer.
His run for the goal was fantastic. Sorry, we get onto that in a moment. When I was talking about Seb Revan there, guys, I wasn't exactly saying he was the second coming of Roberto Carlos. I just see some of the comments there. I just thought he didn't look out of place there today. He looked really good, and I would have no problem throwing him in there for a game or two in the Premier League if we absolutely had to when we had injuries. Let me because he did everything right.
Let me play devil's advocate here with regards to the system we play. He may not fully fit into that system in a fully fledged Premier League game, but I fully expect us to utilise him in Europe, and he probably will get game time, especially towards the back end, or depending on who the opposition is at the back end of our group stages. So, he obviously has a lot of faith in him to play him. Obviously, a lot of faith in Kellyman as well, who's been in and around the first team since the start of pre-season. So I thought he was excellent tonight. I think he did the simple things really, really well. Joining the play really, really well. And for a young fullback who played in position I played in, I think that's the most important thing, that you don't give the ball away, you don't do anything stupid, and you don't stand out as being a liability. And he certainly did not. He was excellent tonight.
Yeah, and I agree. He's not going to be the complete package. Like, he's not going to be a marauding fullback. It's his first proper full start. Yeah, if you want to count that FA Cup game against Liverpool when he was playing with all the rest of the kids, that to me is, look, that's a photo book moment for him. But tonight was actual proper, real competitive stuff. And he went out there. He was given a job to do. He did it judiciously, and I just like. The reason I'm singling him out over Kellyman isn't because I think he's going to be a superstar. It's because I think he had the harder of the two jobs. Kellyman was given a bit more of a role in behind John Duran, and I know Kellyman can definitely become a Premier League footballer. I didn't know what I said Revan did beforehand, and I maybe, like, as I said, the opposition for HIBS today against HIBS today were. They attacked it. They actually went for Callum Chambers in the first half. They had one or two attacks down that side. Didn't come really to fruition. Well, it did. There was a couple of pinball scrambles or whatever. But just that, Seb Revan surprised me more than anybody else in the field today, because I just didn't think he looked out of place. And I think that's testament to Unai Emery. It's testament to the kid as well, because it's testament to Unai Emery. And it just goes to show. I asked beforehand, Paddy, could we see some of these players come in and fit into this system and not look out of place? That was my big thing. I said in the team sheet tantrum, and I said in the pre-match, and it didn't look out of place. And that's the opposition was poor. Don't get me wrong, the opposition was poor, but the system still looked really coherent, and it actually looked lackluster at times because they were so comfortable with it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and you're right to talk about the opposition, because let's face it, we're talking about a team that's bottom of an SPL, which take two teams out of it are never going to get a team to qualify for Europe, and not going to get higher up the scale for someone to qualify for the Champions League automatically, like has happened this year. So that's an important preface for this. But Revan, I've seen him so many times. He's looked like a player. But today I thought he looked like a man. He's filled out well. He bossed that side of the pitch. He was demanding the ball. When he got the ball, he didn't do anything stupid. And that's all you want from him. That's all you want from him. But I have to say I'm really enthused looking at Omari Kellyman. He just makes me smile because he just and you know what, it was even better to see him play with John Duran, because they're two guys that wouldn't, and I mean this in the nicest possible way, wouldn't look out of place kicking ball around between two trees over at Aston Park and just loving life. That's the way they look. They look like two fellas just been let loose to play ball. And you know, there's definitely talent in Omari Kellyman, and we've got a great management team and a great coaching team to get the best out of him. So he is definitely one for the future, if not one for now, with regard these European games, with regards to whoever we get in Carabao Cup ties. You wouldn't know, he might be thrown in there too. But yeah, two very promising stories to come out tonight, to have those two young fellas in there and doing so well. And he nearly got his goal there at the end as well. He whip on that shot was incredible. An awful pity it didn't go in.
Yeah, the commentator said it was inches, maybe millimeters wide. I think it was a bit further wide than that, but you know, the great thing I think about Kellyman is, when I looked at him today, I didn't see, bar he's maybe the fact that maybe he's a stone to put on, I didn't see a 17-year-old kid, and that's what he is, 17. Yeah. Like Omari Kellyman won't be 18 until the middle of next month, and he's made his European debut. Yeah. And we'll get on and we'll talk about him as well. I know why you want him, because you want to be able to put Kellyman in the back of your jersey, and then hope that it peels off. But
Neil, it's the most Irish abroad message you've ever got. Hello, Neil and Paddy from Sydney. Having rashers and pudding here for brekkie. How did John Duran play?
That is quite Irish, in fairness.
That's a real Friday breakfast, isn't it? For a Friday morning in Sydney.
I'm surprised our heads aren't putting you off your breakfast, Stephen. That's it's mad to think that people throw this on and cook the breakfast while they're watching it. That to me blows my mind. But we'll get on to John Duran in a minute, because he's the third person that I want to talk about, and then obviously there's a couple more. But Kellyman, just on the Kellyman piece, once he fills out, he's a tall. He looked tall. He looked rangy when he was out there. At the start, yeah, they went into him. Like they tried to. They tried to Scottish Premier League him. You know, they kicked him a bit. But he got up and he turned. And, you know, as the game went on, I think the turning point for him was about 5, maybe 7 minutes, I'd say, before he's passed to Beatty. A ball came to him, and it was the first ball he was properly able to trap into his body. And he trapped it into his body, and he just played a simple pass. Prior to that, they were all over him like white on rice. And that's what you do to young kids, you know, and it was great. And he got knocked down a couple of times, and there was a couple of times where the ball bounced off him, and that's brilliant. That's great, because the first time the ball came into me, he laid off that pass, he just kind of grew in confidence for the rest of the game. 6-7 minutes later, he plays off the right ball to Bailey. There's no, it's not a showreel ball or anything he plays to Bailey, that one where Bailey scores, but it's the right option, and that's what I'm saying. If you've got a young kid at 17 years of age who takes direction and knows exactly how to play the ball, over time his spontaneity will come into view. Then you look at him in the second half. That reverse ball was just caramel. It was absolute brilliant. That reverse ball he played in, and Betty squared it to McGinn. That was beautiful. And as you say, that shot as well, you know, he'll perfect those over time. That little around the corner shot. I know I said this about Cameron Archer with regards to how he takes snapshots, but this guy kind of reminds me of, from a stature point of view, not the way he shoots or anything, but from a stature point of view and the way he moves around the field. And I'm going to be hyperbolic here. Allow me to be hyperbolic, but he reminds me, he is the same kind of build as a Nicholas Anelka when he goes around the field. And if he can be 60, 70, 80% of the player of Nicholas Anelka, then we'll be onto a good one, because don't forget as well, we went and we poached this guy from Derby, if I'm not mistaken, Paddy, wasn't it? It was Derby, and he was highly thought of, and Derby were in the dumps with financially. We poached this guy at 16 years of age. We brought him on in the academy this season. He's been knocking paint off the ball, scoring goals, and now he's imagine being 17 and making your professional debut in Europe. Like, incredible stuff. Incredible.
Yeah, look, it's absolutely phenomenal for him. The guy has a great future ahead. You know, he obviously, Derby thought very highly of him and had him there from a very young age and nurtured him through, and eventually ended up getting a move to Aston Villa, which we don't do that lightly to other clubs. The players that we've brought in like that have all shown great potential, so they see him up there as one of those players. And look, it's coming to fruition already. And as we always say, if they're old enough, they're good enough. Yeah. If he's able to hold up against, let's face it, it's a different type of tackle that you're putting up with in the SPL than you are in Europe. So if he's able to hold it up there, if he can hold his own in Europe and get a few goals out there, it'd be absolutely brilliant for the kid. But let's not jump ahead of ourselves. We've bigger battles ahead and a transfer window to get through tomorrow, and we could see someone come in, which could mean that he might have to take a seat on the bench for a while, and that's fine too. But we'll have to wait and see what tomorrow brings.
Yeah, absolutely. You know the way we're all about balance in this podcast as well, Paddy. YouTube Premium M with LA Lakers star LeBron James as their avatar said Revan was not good today, let alone Paddy being obsessed with Revan. Paddy, you're obsessed with Revan. It was me. I'm Neil. I'm the one who was obsessed with Revan. I was the one who was doing all the talking about Revan. If you want to comment in the exact same thing with my correct name in there, that'd be cool. But I think he was good today. That's fine. I just want to highlight it.
I don't think anybody else has said it.
It's not Paddy. My name is Neil.
I don't think anybody else in the comments said he wasn't good today. Anyway.
Well, it's not. I've no problem with people thinking he's not good. It's that it was me who was talking about him. I don't want you to be unfairly slandered. That's what it is.
You think that bothers me?
It never hasn't done in the past. John Duran, Paddy. John Duran's goal today. That run he made for the goal. The pass from Pau Torres, fantastic. Beautiful. The run for the goal, I thought was as good. And you know what? Rambo McNally pointed it out at halftime about that run. And when you've got somebody like Rambo who, was able to play the game of football, but maybe would not have been on the end of a pass like that. More of a one that went the Rambo's ball to Rambo probably went above 60 foot higher in the air. Yeah. But he was able to pick that out. And I must say one thing, actually, I thought that halftime piece between himself and Michelle Owens was really good. I thought they're actually a really good combination. And she's a fantastic presenter. And his coat was nothing short of immaculate as well.
The coat was unbelievable. I took a photo. I took a photo of it on the telly. I want one of them coats.
You took a photo of it. Then told your wife, "Christmas present, please."
I might not be able to afford one of them, but we'll have a look and see.
Yeah, but the pass was. The pass was great, I thought, but the finish I thought was just instinctual. Brilliant. Rambo was right though. Where was David Marshall going? But at the same time, the goalkeeper can come out all they want. It's how you finish it past them is the issue. I think. Yeah.
Look, it was a brilliant finish, and a lot of people I saw on Twitter saying we don't have a striker that would have finished that other than him. But look, we know that Ollie Watkins is well able to score goals, and that will come again. It did come against Hibs last week, albeit the opposition was not as good as it is in the Premier League, and he will get back to scoring Premier League goals. But it's great to have another option. It's absolutely brilliant to have another option, regardless. We can have the best goalkeepers in the world make mistakes and not come for things properly or come for things that they had no right to win. We've seen Emi Martinez do it in the past. That is just the way the game goes. But when you get your chance, you have to take it. And by God, did he take it. And what I loved about how he took it was he held off the man and a robust challenge from Rocky in order to get the shot on target. So, fair play to him. You have to give the credit where it's due.
I wish we had a player called Rocky on our team. I do. It's just you have to call him Rocky. You don't call him by his surname. You just call him Rocky. I think that's what it was. And I must give him a shout out as well. In the first half, I think it was after the first goal, the corner that came in. Look, and not dragging him at all, but some single-handedly with some of the worst defending at a corner he put in. Pau Torres spun him around, or spun him, just basically turned him, and he just grabbed a fistful of Pau Torres' jersey at one stage, and he was still a foot behind him. He didn't even move. I don't know how. Obviously, you don't want to kick a team when they're down, but that was a penalty all day long. And Jed Steer, I think, was being diplomatic, who I thought was really good on commentary as well on AVTV. Yeah. He was being diplomatic, and he said, "Oh, I don't think that one's going to be given." and the jersey was stretched about half a foot behind Pau Torres. It was a definite penalty, like. But I'm obviously we wouldn't crow about that. But I thought the referee had a good performance tonight, Paddy. As I turn off my TV here in front of me.
Yeah, look, I thought he let a couple of robust challenges go that he could have done something about and maybe calmed it down a little bit. Obviously, after missing the first 20 minutes, I would have needed to catch up and see. But I actually went on to the app to see was anyone booked early on, and I was surprised to see that it wasn't, considering some of the robust stuff that was going in. But look, he had very little to do today, to be honest. Couple of questionable challenges, but other than that, very little to do.
Yeah, there wasn't much to do. After the first 10 minutes, the huff, like the bluster from, and this once again, I hope if there are any Hibs fans watching this, we're not kicking inwards, we're not kicking downwards or anything here. It was just a symptom of the fact that the team were 5-0 down coming into this, and look, there's other situations or there's other battles that will need to be fought for Hibs other than trying to turn around a 5-0 deficit. But like after the first 10-15 minutes, Hibs came and if they'd gotten an early goal, it would have been good for the tie, and they didn't get it that time. The time there was a screwball scramble, and there was a couple of times, as I said, where Omari Kellyman got the heavy treatment, I think, a couple of times, which you do to young kids when they're on the field. But I think after that, then the game kind of settled down and Aston Villa just passed them around the park. I didn't see any statistics after the game, Paddy. I don't know if you saw them, but I didn't see what like the possession statistics were, but I'd be blown away if Villa didn't have 60 or more % of the of possession, and that's just the way the game felt. There was big portions, I think, in the second half whereby you could have walked out and done the washing or made yourself a sandwich and come back and there wouldn't have been much happened, but all in all, I think that's the way Villa wanted it. They wanted to conserve energy. They wanted to conserve energy while still be able to bring people off the bench. Like Diego Carlos came off the bench, then Donker got minutes. I thought he looked really good. Watkins came off the bench, McGinn came off the bench. So they gave the tie the respect that it deserved. But at the same time, there was an opportunity to conserve energy, and you can do that by passing the ball around and being comfortable by being ball dominant, I think, throughout.
Yeah. Felt a bit more, the stats I'm looking at here says 61%.
Yeah, I'd say that could be okay. Yeah. It felt about that. It's very difficult to have like a 70%. That game Brighton against West Ham was obviously 70% or whatever possession to Brighton, but it can be difficult to get that in a game,
Absolutely. So. Yeah. Jack makes a good point here. Jacob Ramsey is the player he is because Dean Smith trusted him to play in the Prem. That's what makes the player. If you've got a manager that trusts in you and throws you in there, then it's up to you to either sink or swim. And thankfully, Seb Revan, Amari Kellyman, a few others have really put their head above the parapet for their pre-season and again tonight. So good luck to them. But we still need a couple of players, Neil. I still think we need a couple of players.
You read my mind. I didn't even know you were coming on the podcast. That's the third time already. That's when you know that there's a comfortability between two people on a podcast. I didn't even know you were coming on tonight, and that's the third time you've set me up for what the next thing I wanted to talk about was. So obviously attention is going to turn now towards transfer windows. Clement Longley looks like he's going to come in. We're going to do so. Tomorrow is going to be a busy day on the podcast. Today was a busy day for me. I think I was on 4 of the podcast today as well. But tomorrow, no, not like me at all. Tomorrow is going to be a busy day. We are going to stream the Conference League group draw live. So you'll have live reaction here with us tomorrow, with me tomorrow. And then tomorrow evening,
I'll be in a meeting waiting on my phone to light up to tell me who we have.
Yeah. And then tomorrow evening at 10:30, we're going to come and do a bit of a transfer window roundup, and potentially if there's any other breaking news of players that might be signing during that period of time. I think it would take a band of wild horses to keep me away from doing a statistical analysis of them if I could, or put something together anyway to think of my thoughts. So tomorrow's going to be busy, but I just wanted to mention that. But Paddy, what's your feeling on tomorrow? What's your gut feeling tomorrow? Because we aren't in the know. We don't know. But my gut feeling tomorrow is Longley +1. Do you think do you think the +1 is adventurous, or do you think it's ambitious of me?
Well, look, I don't claim to know any inside information, or if somebody tells me something, I would say it on the podcast if they did. But I have a feeling that Longley could be our only signing tomorrow. I just think he maybe doesn't buy into the panic buy. So unless there's something bubbling under, and let's face it, since Monchi came in, every time we're linked with someone, it's leaked. So it's not like the old days where Danny Ings is just announced and he's there, or Leon Bailey, or all of these signings that were just Christian Purslow ones kept under the radar until they were done. So I know we've got bodies out the door, but I just refuse to believe that he would do anything with regards to a panic buy. So unless there's some irons in the fire and it's already ready to go, then I don't believe that he will make any other signings other than that. But I'm hoping there's ones there that haven't been spoken about that are ready just for the final day, for a merry-go-round, for another team to get someone in, for him to leave, or whatever way it goes on the last day. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a couple of unknowns come in from Spain or Italy or whatever, a couple of younger players. But other than that, I just can't see where they're going to come from, and it's just because everything else has been leaked. Everything else we've been interested in has been leaked. So, if something was in the pipeline, I believe we probably would have heard about it by now.
And that's why I think there is a player that we will sign tomorrow. That's why, but I don't think it'll be a striker. I think Nicola Zaniolo is going to cover a multitude of positions for us if needed. I think Abde from Barcelona. I just have this feeling that if you're in negotiations with Barcelona, there's a potential, if they need you to take another player, that you can do another deal with them, because they are in registration hell at this moment in time. They need to get centre halves. They need to get left backs. They need to get those registered. They need to get Marcus Alonso re-registered. So there's registration issues for them there, and the only way they can do that is by finagling the squad a certain way. There has been this big build-up to Abde wanting to move, and but it'll only be on a permanent. That to me still smacks of Aston Villa, because we can't sign players on loan tomorrow.
Yeah,
we can't. We can't. So if anybody's thinking, cheeky loan deadline day, can't happen, because we can't register them. We will register 2 loan players in Clement Longley unless that turns into being a last-minute full-time transfer. But we will have Longley and we will have Zaniolo. So it's whatever we do tomorrow has to be a permanent transfer.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I am prepared to say tomorrow that yes, I'm happy with the transfer window, but disappointed we don't have another striker. So that's why my feeling is that Zaniolo might come in and cover two bases, as in striker slash wide midfielder. And then we bring in the young kid from Barcelona. I think maybe something like that is what we could do. Philippe Coutinho going out, looks like he's going to go to Qatar. I was hoping maybe he'd go to Betis and we could use him as a chess piece to get Borja Iglesias in, the 30-year-old striker that I wanted. Am
I correct in saying that he doesn't have to go to Qatar tomorrow, that their transfer window is still open? Okay. So that kind of changes things a little bit, because if he was to go,
sorry, go on.
Well,
sorry,
it's just look. The space has already been freed up. It would just be more space and more money off the books with regards to the bottom line for wages. But I would rather, if he was going to get this out of the way in the morning and let him go now and know exactly what we're going into from tomorrow evening to be done and dusted, and not having a hanging over us that somebody could be going to Qatar or Saudi Arabia or whatever that may be, and just to batten down the hatches and settle in for the next 4 months until your favourite time of the year reopens again, and we head into Christmas looking at what we're going to do in January. But look, he's getting a tune out of what we have. We've been excellent since Newcastle. Obviously, we got a stern test at the weekend, which will be an eye opener to see where we're at. But I hope what I said makes sense, and I didn't feel like I was contradicting myself. I just think that he's not going to buy anything that's going to be just a panic, and whatever comes in will already be in the pipeline. And there's been too much talk about everybody that's come in already for it to go under the radar, and that's why I'm of the opinion that it may not happen.
I think teams don't make panic signings anymore. Sorry, no, that's a stupid statement. Let me retract that one again. Let me retract it. I don't think good teams make panic signings anymore. I'm fully open to criticism on this one, but Nottingham Forest sacked the guy because of the transfer window, to bring him back and go through exactly the same transfer window that they're going through right now. They were really quiet. Next thing they bring this fella back, they were linked with like 18,000 people today. And it looks like they're going to sign about 14 of that 18,000. So it's, I don't know, that the Forest have their own way of doing things, Villa have their own way of doing things. But there are players out there, is what I'm saying. And I think that, I think more so fans and media label people as panic signings than clubs do. I think clubs sign bodies for sure. I think they sign bodies, and I think they try and cover their bases. And Villa might very well do that with a striker tomorrow. As I said, hey, I've been saying it since day one of the transfer window. Where's my 30-year-old striker that no one expects to come, that no one expects anything of? Journeyman striker Fernando Morientes type that all of a sudden scores 9 goals and 7 of those are match winners. There could be something like that in tomorrow, but I'm not expecting it. I'm more hopeful of it, if that makes sense. And the only reason is all the old strikers have gone to Saudi. That's my big thing at the moment. All the old strikers are playing in the MLS, or they're playing in Saudi. So I couldn't name one at the minute that we could potentially sign. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting tomorrow. But as I say, I was hoping that the Betis thing would come true, because they've got a couple of players I wouldn't mind using as make weights in the Coutinho deal, or making Coutinho make weight for them in a deal, should I say?
Yeah.
Hey, do you know what? Go down to Brazil and sign Hulk or something like that. Do something mad like that. That's what I'm saying.
The only person that fits your description that I've heard any conversation about was Alvaro Morata, and I don't think he would be our kind of player. But yeah, that's the only one that could be on the float tomorrow that he could pick up, and that's just me being lazy because he's Spanish. So anyway, there you go.
Yeah, I think Morata is going to look at Italian team in for me, English team in for me. I'll pick the slower league. I think that's what he would do. Yeah, it'll be interesting. It's going to be interesting tomorrow. As I say, I want an attacker so badly. I want an extra attacker, whether it's behind the striker or an actual striker himself. I want it. I'm not expecting one. I'm more hopeful. But we will obviously. Clement Lenglet's done deal. It's done. Barring that they find that there's worms in his knee or something like that, he's signing tomorrow. Then again, as well, you have your match day personnel and you have your non-match day personnel. So just because we were playing a game today, like a couple of people I saw on Twitter today said, "Oh, I think we're done now because we're playing HIBS on Thursday." And you're going, "Yeah, but what the hell does Johan Lange and what does Monchi and what does Rob McKenzie and what does all these guys? What do they actually have to do on match day? Nothing. They could just as easily watch it on TV on the blower, trying to do a deal, So, who knows? I think tomorrow is going to be a wild ride, though. I think we're going to be linked with players that we've no hope of signing tomorrow. No hope at all of signing tomorrow, just like every other deadline day. And I think the Joe Felix thing might rear its head. I've no hope that Joe Felix is going to sign for Aston Villa tomorrow. He's going to be in a Barcelona jersey. And that's it, I think, tomorrow. That's my thoughts on it.
Doesn't strike me as something that would happen either. No, it's look, there's a lot of names, people talking about hijacking Ansu Fati as well. That's
don't mind Ansu Fati. Ansu Fati, fantasy football player, as I saw him referred to as well today. Good player, don't get me wrong. I just don't think I think another slight winger isn't what we need. Gig Sharma says here, El Nesri from Sevilla. He's rumored to be available for 20 million. He's probably one of the best headers of the ball in world football at the moment. Maybe. Who knows? We've not been linked to him. So, and plus, it seems like when Sevilla rings up Manchi, they look at the phone and they go, "Oh, for fuck's sake, what's this fella doing ringing us?" Do you know? That's what it seems.
Or another hero goes on the end of it.
This fucker. Yeah, that's what it seems like. You know. So it's going to be an interesting one tomorrow, as I say. But we could sign a top class player for 40 million tomorrow, which I think there's probably about a 5% chance of. We could sign a completely unknown striker that none of us have ever heard of tomorrow, which I think there's probably a 40% chance of. And I think that we could sign no one tomorrow, and I think there's probably an 80% chance of that. No striker outside of Langley tomorrow. I think there's probably an 80% chance of that. But
so
hope springs eternal.
We spoke about the transfer window there for 10 minutes and actually said nothing. So there you go. Apart from Clement Anglais, that's more or less done and dusted.
Exactly.
So he's in the country, probably behind the black glass in the North Stand watching the match tonight, hopefully he enjoyed what he saw and look forward to playing with his new teammates.
Simon Kenny says, have you ruled yourself out of a transfer, Neil? I haven't ruled myself out of a transfer. I've ruled myself out of a transfer to Aston Villa. Just because I don't think Aston Villa need another 5'8" combative midfielder. But there's quite a lot of Premier League teams that do need that type of player. Sean Dyche, if you're there, if you're watching, give me a call. Call me. But apart from that, no, I don't think I think I'm going to be staying put tomorrow. And Spencer Bakewell says that's a hell of an anorak. It's not an anorak. It's actually a massively oversized hoodie, which is really comfortable. The day today here in Ireland started off really winterish, so I threw this on. But yeah,
it looks like a Washington.
No, it's Levi's
they're not called that name anymore, do
No, it's not. No.
A Washington NFL jumper is what I thought it was. Anyway,
Washington football team. That's what they were called last season.
Is that what they're called now? Is it?
That's what they were called last season. Tumblr Turnpike. We might have to finish. We're getting suggestions of Billy Sharp being that striker. He's gone to the Galaxy. I think he's fine. I think he's going to take the Sun where he is at the moment. Right, guys, I think we're going to do that. I think we'll call it at that, should I say. Call it a pod at that. Jesus, I'm looking up here in the top left-hand corner. It's telling me that there was 710 people on here at one stage and there's 589. Thank you so much, everybody, for your time. Really, really appreciate you.
Don't forget the thumbs up.
The opportunity to take to watch us or the time to look at us. Thumbs ups and subscriptions if you're not already subscribed. I really appreciate that. We'll be back tomorrow. We will cover the UEFA draw live. We will cover the end of the transfer window live as well tomorrow, and anything in between. If it does break, we'll come on for short podcasts. So thanks so much, everybody. We'll also be back. Jesus, Paddy, when we're going to fit in the Liverpool preview. We might have to record this directly after this and then pre-record it and pop it out at some stage on Saturday. But
I'm sitting here worrying about how I'm going to get through a day's work with everything that's happening tomorrow. I'm obviously not going to get on your podcast. Plus, then I've got to travel to Liverpool for the game. So
yeah.
I don't know where you're going to fit me into your plans. But
I don't know where I'm going to fit myself into my plans, Paddy. But but you know what? It's great. It's great because everything the Villa are doing at the moment is exciting. So it'd be a lot worse if we were in the doldrums and had all these, like it'd become an inconvenience. Whereas now at the moment it's absolutely fantastic. So we wouldn't have it any other way. Big day tomorrow though. Big day transfer window. Big day Conference League. And I hope you guys will spend it with us as well. You know. So I'm going to leave it at that. Going to leave it at that. Aston Villa 3, HIBS 0. Aston Villa 8, HIBS 0 over the course of 2 legs. We're on the road to Europe and really excited to see what far-flung places we're going to be thrown to in for the rest of the coming season. But yeah, great stuff. Aberdeen coming our way in the group. You know it's happening. Like you know that is happening for sure. Listen. Going to leave it at that, everybody. Thanks a million for joining us. In the meantime. We will be back later tomorrow, as I say. But in the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.